Hello walkers, and welcome to, wait for it, because I have to remember where we are, Johnson Canyon, Utah. We are starting at the end of the trail, and we're going to make our way back to the trailhead, and we're going to pass a massive arch on the way back, and we'll talk a little bit and have a nice pleasant nature walk. My name is Henry. I will be your proxy walker today, your virtual travel guide as we explore this little area just outside of St. George, Utah. There is a small fee to use this area, and this trail is actually closed during the summer because of desert tortoises, which are an endangered species. You can see this red sand is on a lot of the trail, this part of it anyway, and it gets a little bit more firm and compact. We've got some scrub oaks in here, and we'll get into some creosote bushes, and I'm not sure what this little plant is. I've seen it a lot, but who knows. We've got these awesome cliffs in this little canyon here. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. It helps us out a lot. And of course, always leave us your comments. I love hearing your comments. I've been getting a lot of good ones lately. It's a lot of fun for me to interact with you guys and hear what you're thinking, what you're doing, and all sorts of stuff. On this channel, this is City Walks, a relaxing travel channel, which is kind of how I'm branding it now, but or trying to anyway. We explore. I don't always know everything about an area, so I welcome additional information in the comments, any corrections as well, because sometimes I make mistakes, especially in pronunciation, although I'm pretty sure I've got Johnson Canyon pronounced correctly. This is about the hardest part of this trail right here. Some rocks to make our way through. Also, I took the polarizer off because it got smudged and I can't quite get it off with my big fumbly fingers, so I'll have to wait till I get home to do that. But I am trying 60 frames a second, so it may look a little crisper, maybe be a little steadier, more like video than film, which is cool. Anyway, I've had a few requests. I tried it on the GoPro and I really didn't like it. I think the bit rate was too low for 60, and we'll see how the Osmo handles it. I've seen some other people's videos that look great, but I kind of wonder if they've done some extra stuff in post-processing. Look at these cliffs. This will be a shorter walk today. It's a 1.75 mile round trip. Look at the black patina on that. I think that's caused by the mineralization of the sandstone, which I don't really understand how you mineralize something that's made out of minerals, but I'm not a geologist. Anyway, so this will be about 0.875 miles, but we're taking it easy and slow. We'll stop and check out the arch. Some of these beautiful fall colors down here. It is, I usually tell this, it's about 11 a.m., mid-November. It's a Monday, so we got plenty of space to enjoy this park. It's kind of to ourselves, and it is. Let me look this up here. If I can. Oh, hear the birds. It's 59 degrees Fahrenheit, which is just 15 degrees Celsius. It gives you kind of the details, and I'm going to show you this arch, but right now it's kind of right below the sun. So look at these massive rocks that have tumbled off these cliffs. The geologic activity here is slow but kind of dramatic. Not kind of, absolutely dramatic. So I'll show you here the arch. It's off to our left. You can see the fence is telling people not to hike up there and asking people to respect that aspect of things. Let me see if I can get in the shadow so we won't be blocked by the sun so much. Yeah, there it is. See up there if I can get this just right. It's a big, heavy arch, so sort of, I'm sure you can see it at this point. There's a tree growing up there, massive rocks have fallen down. But there's a gap behind there. One of the heavier arches I've seen. We'll take a look back at the canyon, a fellow hiker in there. We've seen about 4 other people on this little hike in the last, I don't know, half hour. Look, I love the light here. And we're literally a few miles from we're outside of St. George. You can kind of hear the hum as we get out of the canyon. You might be able to hear the hum of the traffic. Just sounds like actually wind or moving water a little bit. When I lived in Denver, they referred to that as Colorado surf. I hear some water burbling around in my water bottles as well. These tiny little birds up in this tree. We have had a long weekend here, but just a great time. This is such a beautiful place to be when it gets cold up north. Probably not as nice in August, but still beautiful. Just hot. I think these are maybe not. I was looking at some other, I'll try and point out the creosote bushes that I found earlier. I use this app called Picture This, I think it's called. Anyway, I'm not sponsored or anything, but it's kind of a neat little thing. I was told about a year ago and never downloaded it. And then finally, when we were in Alaska, I downloaded it. And you have to have cell service, and it is paid, but it's pretty sweet if you have an interest in plants. There's another one that I haven't tried out yet called Seek, which does, I think, birds and maybe mammals as well. So somewhere down here is a spring. You can see a little water down in that drainage there, that wash. Oh, here's the creosote bushes. That's a creosote bush right here. Or per my little app there. If you ever wondered why I might say, oh, not sponsored by, it's because legally you're supposed to disclose that sort of thing according to FCC regulations. I think that's who it is, or FTC maybe, one of those alphabet deals. Look at this dry, dead grass in here. It's amazing that any grass at all can make it. But take another look at this thing. I'll let somebody pass and then we'll get back to walking. How you doing? Beautiful. Anyway, you're supposed to disclose that sort of thing, and so that people aren't feeling tricked. I think, at least in the States, we get pummeled with so much advertising that most of us are, at least I am, fairly cynical about any recommendations, any kind of reviews, anything like that. Look at this rock down here that's tumbled down, maybe 10 years old, maybe 1,000 in that location. Kind of hoping that I can get this, that my battery doesn't run out. 60 frames a second, I think, is going to burn the battery a little bit faster than I normally would, and I don't have add-on battery with me. Go down here, you can hear the water a little bit. Can kind of see the water running. I don't know if the camera will pick it up down there. Kind of where that pipe's headed into the rock. Look at all these trees loving that life-giving water. You can see how it opens up here, the canyon. And you've got mountains in the distance, and between us and those mountains is where kind of the outskirts of St. George are. A lot of fancy retirement, I'm not going to say retirement, but walled communities. I assume they're retirement because so many people have been retiring to St. George recently. Lovely different colored lichen on this rock. Oh, I love this place. You pop out into the sun, I think it's even warmer. And it hits you pretty hard. It's not broiling or anything, but it's definitely noticeable. It's definitely a change. Oh, look at these colors. I love all the colors. One of the things that polarizer was doing was really helping the natural colors pop around here, but the colors are so saturated, so distinct. It's almost a problem. It looks almost unnatural. Anyway, I wanted to point this out. This is sort of an erosional control system, I think, to try and slow down any runoff, which walked past that and I was thinking, that's kind of what beaver dams do. Obviously not here in the desert, but in other places it really, listen to that bird. Of course it's going to stop. There we go. Hopefully the mic picks that up. But, I think I read this book called Feral. I forget who wrote it, but one of the things it talked about was in someplace in Britain, one of the counties or shires there, in order to get everything nice and manicured, started taking out all the deadfall from the river. And then they started having all this horrible flooding because all that deadfall was slowing the water down, making the more changes to the current, slowing it down, mixing it up. And it not only made it less biologically fruitful, it sped the water up, so more water came down quicker, which caused lots of flooding. So they were starting to go back and put artificial debris back in. Look at this wash. Whoops, excuse me. Very cool little canyon. And we'll get up here and see where it starts. Kind of a sudden start up here. You can see kind of the lava flows out here that have, I think thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of years ago. I looked it up, or I read something, I can't remember the number. I think it's 28,000, but it seems recent. You can see the end of the canyon right there. It just abruptly stops. And still pretty cool. Interesting to think about seeing that when the water's flowing. And of course here flash flooding is an issue because they'll get a big thunderstorm or something. And much like that river in Britain with no down timber in it, there's nothing to stop the water. The water doesn't soak in here, and there's just rocks and some small bushes in there, and so it just whoosh floods and collects and washes down here in a very rapid and sometimes dangerous, possibly dangerous way. We were kind of joking about this rock up here on the left. It's sort of just basically balanced on the edge here. Looks like it could go at any minute. And then you've got some little table rock up there. You don't want to think about this stuff too much. Wouldn't take much to start some of this stuff tumbling. And we're not really built for that sort of thing. Or fragile bodies. Here we go. This will be a little bit shorter video. I've kind of been wondering if, if YouTube rewards videos based on percentage viewed instead of actual view time. This is all sort of the nuts and bolts, sausage making that you might not care about, but average view time for these videos is 14, 15 minutes sometimes, which includes the people that click on the video and then bail after a few seconds because they're not looking for a walking video. So that's pretty good, considering so many videos aren't even that long on YouTube. But it doesn't really help me. It doesn't seem to be helping me. So maybe this will be a good experiment to check that out and see if that's working. That is a subtle plea to watch all the way through and maybe click the if there's end screens up at the end, click through on one of those. The state park goes back in there, and I believe it's on the side or the border of Red Cliffs Wildlife Management Area or Wildlife Conservation Area, which is also obviously outside of St. George, Utah. What I like about how close this is you can, Utah's St. George is a pretty popular place for recreation. There's lots of hotels, restaurants, nice little downtown. I did a walk a couple years ago, I think 3 years ago. About that, look at this gray, dark rock. We'll see some even darker stuff up ahead. Little scrub oak making its way there. These giant creosote bushes. Anyway, it's close. The facilities are close and accessible, and it's not a national park, so their traffic out here is a lot less. That said, I would never recommend skipping someplace like Zion or Bryce or some of these other amazing parks they have down here in Utah. There's so much great public land down here. A lot of BLM land, a lot of wildlife management, that sort of thing. Very cool to have that accessible. Lots of different options for recreating outside. Morning. You can see over here on the left a lot of this black, really dark volcanic lava field. Pretty interesting, harsh environment. And I think this is the same stuff, but it's been covered by that. People walking have stirred up the dust and covered up that a lot of it. Maybe it's black because of patina too. I don't know. Maybe it's just in shadow from the angle of the sun. Really dark though. Look over, you can see, I'm going to turn this around a little bit, sorry, to spin you around like a record baby. Sort of that front of red stone cliffs. So beautiful, and then a little bit of soft green with the creosote and sagebrush bushes, sort of other foliage that's clinging to the ledges. Really cool. And it just keeps going. It's awesome. And then of course this is back in that way too, is awesome. Definitely want to wear shoes on this trail. This rock is pretty rough and sharp in some places. You can feel it through the soles of my shoes. Did I tell you the name of the park? It's Snow Canyon. It's Johnson Canyon Trail. I believe it's Snow Canyon State Park. I better check that. One of the things about being so close to town, we've got good cell service here. I gotta descend a little bit. Snow Canyon State Park. Got it. That breeze is nice. Because this is habitat for endangered species, they do ask very firmly that you stay on the trails. It's pretty sensitive habitat, fairly delicate. These plants and animals kind of living on the edge in the best of times. Hence the well-marked route. One of the things I like about the fee you pay is you can do it online. They have a little QR code sign. You fill out the envelope, pay online, and then keep the little tear off tab and put the envelope in with the info in the slot, and it's done. I didn't call it out, but there's another trail that kind of follows that wash outside of the valley, and that where you follow the way we came, and it splits off right around where you turn into the actual Red Rock Canyon, Johnson Canyon, and that's a much longer, not like super long, but I think it's 5 or 6 miles round trip. We're 24 minutes. This is a short one. I think we walked out there in 15. But I like to lollygag and chat with you guys. So thank you for joining me on this short little hike. Hope you found it interesting. We'll be doing more longer hikes, of course. But I just kind of want to take the opportunity, since it was so pretty here, to film and share with you guys. We will see you again very soon, and until then, keep on stepping.